Now at 9, damage from last night's storms causing major issues in towns in our area. Plus, the Kansas City University in Joplin holds a white coat ceremony that's sprinkled with love. And Northeast Oklahoma A&M welcomes 600 students as the school year gets ready to begin.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Fire crews from multiple stations working overnight as a church in Nevada went up in flames. This is KOAM News at 9. I'm Anthony Saviello. At around 2:23 this morning, fire crews were alerted to the incident on arrival. Crews observed smoke and flames at First Christian Church on Austin Boulevard and Washington Avenue. Calls for mutual aid with fire went out, and according to Nevada Fire Chief Taylor McClintock, 8 different departments and almost 70 different firefighters were on scene. The fire was brought under control at 6:30 a.m. The Missouri State Fire Marshal, ATF, and Nevada Police determined the cause of the fire to be incendiary. Further details on the fire are still being investigated. Last night's storms brought multiple reports of damage and power outages throughout our area. Last night, 31,000 residents in Benton County were said to be without power. That number has since gone down. Quapaw Public Schools has also reported on Facebook that they will be delaying the start of school until August 26 due to the damage done. Professional development days and the district's open house have also been rescheduled. We'll check in with meteorologist Lindsay Gaffney for a first look at weather.
We did have that weak cold front that went through last night, and although it did cause a lot of damage, it only dropped temperatures down to the lower 90s. We do have another frontal boundary moving in later on this weekend that's going to drop those temperatures a little bit further into the upper 80s for the first half of the work week. But we're just right about average right today and tomorrow, and then the frontal boundary that moves in tomorrow is going to be dropping those temperatures a little bit more. But until then, we're going to stay mostly dry, looking pretty good until those storms and isolated showers start to come in tomorrow and early Monday morning. And then we go on a nice long stretch of warming and sunny skies. I'll have more details coming up.
All right, Lindsay, thanks. A white coat ceremony was held by Kansas City University School of Dentistry. KOAM's Mitch Adams has the story.
What are the odds of that happening? And I remember being so happy and relieved that I could go through this journey and process in medicine with Sierra, love of my life.
Kansas City University School of Dentistry presented the class of 2028 with their white coats at the Joplin High School Performing Arts Center. Over 70 men and women were congratulated for their accomplishments, with the white coat ceremony marking the first step in their professional careers. Some of these students, like Sierra Smith and Garrett Reimer, formed everlasting bonds through their studies.
When we were touring apartments here, when we were looking for apartments in Joplin, I proposed to her at the Grand Falls waterfall here on the tour. I tricked her, got her to take a picture like this, and then she got so excited she forgot to take pictures.
But the love doesn't end with Garrett and Sierra. Casey and Michael Mann met in college in Alabama, but moved to the middle of the country to go to medical and dental school at KCU.
You know, we put our marriage before our career, and so by doing that and putting God first, we're able to really have a strong foundation.
Linda Neeson, the founding dean at the KCU College of Dental Medicine, told us that students being able to deeply connect with each other during school is very positive.
One student is in the medical school, the other student's in the dental school, and they both are going through very difficult health professional programs. So I think it's wonderful that they can undertake these careers in the same school and rely on each other when times get tough.
The ceremony marks the beginning of a long career for these medical students, and with the help of bonds made through passion, new journeys begin for our future healthcare providers. Reporting in Joplin, Missouri, Mitch Adams, KOAM News.
To find more information about the white coat ceremony itself, visit our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Northeastern Oklahoma A&M welcomed over 600 students to their living facilities today. Move-in took place from noon to 4 p.m., followed by a business and community fair in the evening. Classes at NEO are scheduled to start this upcoming Monday.
It is a very welcoming hometown feel. I love that everyone knows everyone and everyone's watching out for you and wants you to succeed.
NEO has a variety of events scheduled for this upcoming Welcome Week, with students encouraged to participate and explore their new campus. Joplin Schools held a bus camp this morning in preparation for the upcoming school year. Kids aged kindergarten through first grade were invited to learn about bus safety and bus stop rules. Attendees were also given a complimentary ride to get more comfortable with the school bus.
We definitely need traffic stopping when they see those stop signs out on the sides of buses. We want our kids to be looking both ways and looking at the driver for the driver's signal before they cross the street. And we want to make sure we stay out of the danger zones, which are 10 feet all the way around the bus.
Over 10 vendors from area organizations were also present at the event. It was the murder that shocked the town of Augusta, Kansas last September, the murder of a 93-year-old woman. On Thursday, the community was shocked again after police announced they've made 2 arrests. The 2 suspects are 14-year-old girls. Julia Daughtry has more.
It was a thing too close to home.
Too close to home is the initial reaction of the people of Augusta after hearing a beloved member of their community was killed. She was 93 years old. Joanne Johnson, known to many in the Augusta community as JoJo, was found dead in her home last September. Local business owner Shane Scott says he knew the Johnson family and is shocked this happened in the small town of Augusta.
People of our community hurt, we hurt. And when they mourn, we mourn. And right now the town's mourning for all that are involved.
Now, 2 14-year-old girls were arrested for first-degree murder. The identity of those girls are unknown at this time. Augusta's mayor, Mike Rawlings, told me the news of the arrest quickly spread through social media and says he is shocked something like this can happen in such a close-knit community.
In this town, within a few hours, everybody knows about something about a crime, specifically a murder. So it was gut-wrenching and disturbing.
Scott says though this tragedy shook this small town, he wants everyone to know this is not Augusta.
But we will recover from this, and our town will love each other, and we will come together and go back to that close-knit, safe town that we've always been.
Coming up, what the new monkeypox virus may have in store. Summer may be on its way out, but the high temperatures are still sticking around. Experts are warning of how extreme heat can impact stroke risk. Dr. Mark Babby with Cleveland Clinic says heat stroke is a major risk when hot weather bears down, especially on the elderly or those with pre-existing conditions. Stroke risk can worsen without enough water, and blood can potentially clot. Dr. Babby says that it's important for everyone, not just those who are more vulnerable, to take precautions by staying hydrated and avoiding strenuous activities during high temperatures. A fast-moving strain of Mpox, formerly known as monkeypox, has just jumped from Africa to Asia to Europe, and the U.S. could be next. Fox News correspondent Jonathan Seary has more from Atlanta.
Mpox, the virus formerly known as monkeypox, is spreading quickly around the world following a summer outbreak in Africa that saw a new variant infect more than 14,000 people, causing more than 500 deaths. The World Health Organization has labeled the outbreak a global health emergency, and now the variant has spread to Europe, with Sweden reporting at least 1 case, which they say they have under control.
Sweden has a good preparedness to diagnose, isolate, and care for people in a safe and good way, and that does not pose a risk to the general population.
Mpox is similar to smallpox, but it causes more mild symptoms. Fever, chills, and body aches are the most common. But this new strain appears to be more deadly, and it's spreading quickly, prompting some countries to consider new border restrictions.
There's no need to close borders when we are in disease outbreaks. Diseases don't recognize borders. It doesn't stop a disease from spreading.
Meanwhile, the U.S. is monitoring the outbreak and doing what it can to help. This week, the CDC updated its guidance for Mpox vaccinations and provided a risk assessment map, while also continuing to stress there's no major risk to the American public at this time.
U.S. embassies in the region have issued alerts to U.S. citizens amplifying the CDC's Level 2 travel health notice. This is an issue that we are deeply engaged on.
African leaders will meet in Zimbabwe on Saturday for a previously scheduled summit. They are expected to develop a coordinated plan for Mpox. In Atlanta, Jonathan Seri, Fox News.
COVID is surging across the country this summer. Health experts believe that's due to more people staying indoors to avoid the summer heat. The coronavirus transmit more easily indoors. The higher travel rates in the summer also mean more chances for the virus to spread. Health experts say we can expect COVID to linger as kids return to school and other respiratory diseases like RSV and influenza to begin circulating again in the fall through the winter. Lindsay is next with a complete look at the forecast, and later, area schools speak with us to remind parents and students about their cell phone policies.
After a weak cold front yesterday, we got some storms in our area and a slight drop in temperatures today. Taking a look at downtown Joplin from the Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex. Mostly a clear night, a light breeze out of the east, and overall it's been a pretty nice day. We do still have those heat advisories, but they are going to expire here shortly, and then continuing into the weekend, humidity drops, and we're seeing another drop in temperatures tomorrow. For the first half of the work week, it's going to be upper 80s to mid 80s across the region, so it's going to feel pretty good before another warm up in the forecast. Now, a few clouds maybe moving in overnight, but overall, again, we're staying pretty dry until tomorrow. Our high temperature is about 93 degrees as a max, but humidity is going to be slightly lower, so we won't see those high heat index values tomorrow either. We got a clear morning, but then in the afternoon, a few isolated showers start to move in due to a frontal boundary. The front moves past our area before those storms start to develop, but we again still might see a couple isolated showers. Not going to drop a lot of rainfall, but might be nice to have a few showers along with the cold's cooler temperatures. So you can see where the frontal boundary has passed, and those storms are developing south of us, south of Bella Vista, out in Arkansas. But then another rain shower starts to move into Kansas City, moves mostly east of us, so Springfield's going to get some heavy rain, but we're just getting a few isolated showers Sunday afternoon after about 6 p.m. Those continue on out of our area, and then in the overnight hours, late Sunday night into early Monday morning, we've got another round of storms, but again, not a severe threat, just maybe might wake up to some rumbles of thunder, maybe a little lightning, but again, not a lot of severe threat, not a lot of rain either dropping Monday morning. Then those clear out by about midday on Monday, and we're going to have a pretty cool day for the most part Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So temperatures still slightly warmer, right about average on Sunday. Those isolated showers in the afternoon with a secondary frontal boundary this weekend. And then Monday, few morning showers and possible thunderstorms, but again, not a severe threat. And then those temperatures drop down, 87 Monday, 85 Tuesday, 87 Wednesday, and then they start to warm right back up to average and a bit above average for the rest of the week, but those overnight lows are still going to remain in the upper 60s.
It's nice to have a little bit of a cooler
especially in August. I mean,
yeah,
it's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, I am going to put Lindsay's knowledge to the test. We all know how great she is and how good she does on our forecast, but behind us is a video of last night's storms developing just outside Wichita, which we got from the National Weather Service. So, Lindsay, I know this only term, is a cumulonimbus cloud. I almost had it. So explain to us what's going on here.
All right, so you have 3 stages for a cumulonimbus formation, a thunderstorm forming: the developing stage, mature stage, and dissipation stage. So last night specifically, you have all these parameters for severe weather, and they could all line up, but if you don't have a force driving those storms, nothing's going to happen. We had all those parameters line up. We had a lot of energy in the atmosphere, which we measure by CAPE, which is convective available potential energy in the atmosphere. And so we have all those parameters lined up, and then a frontal boundary pushes in, driving those storms. So when that happens, especially with a high amount of CAPE, those storms are really going to be volatile. So you start off with energy rising and updraft forming, and depending on how strong those are, they can develop within 15, 20 minutes. Then you can see where that anvil, let's wait till it loops around, there we go, that
Boom.
Anvil kind of forms. It's such a strong storm, such a strong updraft that it hits the top of the troposphere, which is the tropopause, and it can't go into the stratosphere because it's such stable air mass up there. So it just kind of flattens out. And that's the anvil. And when that happens, I mean, you know it's going to be a strong storm.
Yeah.
Eventually, downdraft starts to happen. You get that wall cloud from a storm, rain, precipitation, and then eventually the downdraft overtakes that updraft, and then it all just kind of collapses in on itself.
Okay, right on. So, we talked about this earlier. You see this thing.
It's bad news.
Bad news. It's
You're
coming.
You're getting some storms.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
All right. Thanks, Lindsay,
You're
for the lesson. Appreciate it. Well, coming up, a look into local area school cell phone policies. As the school year begins, many schools are making an effort to remind students and parents of cell phone policies that are in place. I spoke with Carthage and Lamar school districts about what their expectations are when it comes to cell phones.
At the K through 8 level, it's a don't have it out, don't let it be seen. We don't have a policy that goes so far as, we're not going to be searching students for cell phones, but listen, we don't want to see it. At the high school level, we give our teachers the ability to understand what that, to develop what that rule is for their own classroom.
Overall, though, the policies are pretty well aligned with the understanding that we do not want devices being a distraction in the classroom. So anything we can do to help student engagement in the classroom and minimize those distractions, that's our overall goal as a district.
As far as using computers in the classroom, we typically try not to use cell phones where computers can be used. But we do have classrooms where, classes where students will record videos for, a presentation or a project. So it's, the computer doesn't always replace the cell phone one-to-one. So
parents are very supportive. As a district, we continue to encourage parents to educate their kids on appropriate cell phone use and everything as well. In our district, we have a lot of kids that walk to and from school. They're in sports after schools, or they're in other activities and clubs. That parents do like them to have a cell phone so that they can call home, which completely is understandable.
In all of the information that we give our parents, they know when the times are that students can have the phones out. They understand that it's at teacher's directive. Those rules should be stated at the beginning of the year. We don't want our teachers to have policy one day that switches the next day, that goes back the following day. So it should be consistent, and it's hopefully through that consistency that our students and our parents know when it's practical to use phones and when it's not.
A national poll results by the Kids Mental Health Foundation say that half of parents believe the more time their child interacts with technology and social media, the less likely they are to build meaningful relationships with classmates and teachers. Foundational researchers say parents should watch out for tech effect warning signs like losing track of time, isolating, increased focus on appearance, and changes in eating patterns. The poll also highlighted other back-to-school concerns parents have, when 30% saying they are worried about bullying and 22% are worried about potential social impact of the pandemic. A new report reveals millennials are doing much better financially than Americans in previous generations. That's according to a new article published by Wall Street Journal. The generation, which spans from ages 27 to 44, is experiencing, quote, swift and sudden financial success in large part due to real estate and stocks and mutual funds. According to Fidelity, millennials reportedly had an average 401k account balance of nearly $60,000 in the first quarter of 2024 compared to $27,600 in 2019. Egg prices are climbing again, placing the household staple back in the spotlight as inflation and bird flu limits supply. July marked a third straight month that egg prices rose. According to Consumer Price Index, or CPI, data released this week, prices for it soared over 19% last month compared to the same time last year. Up next, a local sports team puts their community service skills to work. The Girard High School football team pitched in a helping hand at Crawford State Park this morning. Players from the team moved stones and helped upkeep the butterfly garden as a form of service to the local community.
We're working hard to make this a nice venue for them to come out here at the lake. We're promoting pollinators, butterflies, and bees. It's a great place for kids to come and learn and recreate and get a little education while they're in the process.
Players that helped volunteer were given snacks once the work was done. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. Coming up, the latest news from the local and national campaign trails. A showdown between Missouri Senate candidates at the state fair. Republican Senator Josh Hawley seemingly sought out his Democratic opponent during an event on Thursday at issue to debate or not. Mark Slavitt has more on what happened.
Josh Hawley arrived at the ham breakfast with one thing on his mind. He wanted to confront his political opponent, Lucas Kuntz.
Are you going to debate me today? You already got the Are we going to debate today?
Hawley found Kuntz among 1,200 people attending the governor's ham breakfast and immediately asked him to have a debate across the street from the state fair. State fair officials did not allow them to have a debate on the fairgrounds property.
It looks like I'm not getting a debate.
What's your reaction to that?
I just think it's sad that he is unwilling to debate. He's been in his basement for 2 weeks, and he spent the last 2 weeks insulting the Farm Bureau. Some of you have now seen this letter that he wrote, threatening the Farm Bureau with legal action. This is the most unbelievable thing I've ever heard in a farm state. This is a farm state. It's absolutely unreal.
It's unreal because it's a lie. We didn't threaten the Farm Bureau. He put their C5 status in jeopardy, coordinating with them in violation of FEC rules. Look, the ridiculous thing here is that we have a guy who can't agree to 5 televised debates because he doesn't want to answer to his record.
OpenAI reports it discovered and disrupted an Iranian influence campaign. OpenAI says the Iranian group had used its ChatGPT to generate misinformation to spread online. Some of the content was related to the United States presidential election, the Olympics, and the war on Gaza. OpenAI banned several ChatGPT accounts using the artificial intelligence chatbot that were associated with the Iranian efforts. The company said the Iranian attempt did not seem to get much audience engagement before they were deactivated. Former New York Representative George Santos is expected to plead guilty Monday to federal charges relating to fraudulent activity during his 2022 midterm campaign. Santos, who represented New York's 3rd Congressional District on Long Island as a Republican, was expelled from the House last year. On Friday, a motion was granted for a hearing before Judge Siebert. Santos is scheduled to be back in court Monday afternoon. His attorney, Joseph Murray, did not respond to the request for comments. On the campaign trail, the battle between the vice presidential hopefuls is heating up. Democratic nominee Governor Tim Walz and Republican nominee Senator J.D. Vance are taking aim at each other's personal finances. Tom Foreman has the latest.
Both are Midwest born from working class families, love Diet Mountain Dew, and joined the military.
For 24 years, I proudly wore the uniform of this nation.
I enlisted in the United States Marines.
But along the way, the fortunes of Democrat Tim Walz and Republican J.D. Vance diverged wildly.
Growing up, I spent the summers working on the family farm. My mom and dad taught us, show generosity towards your neighbors and work for a common good.
Educated at Chadron State College in Nebraska and Minnesota State, Walz became a high school teacher and coach, taking up politics in his 40s as a congressman and then 2-term governor of Minnesota. Waltz owns no stocks or bonds, sold his home after moving into the governor's mansion in 2019. Records show his savings are largely in retirement accounts and life insurance. He has a small education fund, and as the New York Times noted, he and his wife jointly reported $299,000 in income in 2023, more than they had declared in years. Vance, on the other hand,
I know what it's like to choose between paying off the credit card debt or buying groceries. I know what it's like to watch families fall apart under financial stress.
he went to Ohio State, then Yale Law, graduating to work as a litigator, write a best-selling memoir, which became a movie, and to settle into venture capitalism before winning a U.S. Senate seat 2 years ago. Vance owns his home, has stakes in 2 businesses, up to $500,000 worth of Bitcoin, rental income, checking accounts worth over $1 million, sizable education savings for his children. Altogether, he and his wife have between $4 and $11 million in assets, with at most $1.5 million in liabilities. Walt says it all adds up to an opponent far removed from his humble beginnings.
Come on! That's not what middle America is.
While Vance finds a different bottom line.
I will be a vice president who never forgets where he came from.
Still ahead, a young boy gets escorted to school by police officers in remembrance of his father.
Well, we had some storms last night, and some of them were pretty damaging, but we're looking pretty good today. Taking a look outside downtown Joplin from the Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex. We've got a very light breeze out of the east following the frontal boundary that moved through yesterday, and clear skies. We do still have a couple of heat advisories that are going to remain in effect through tomorrow, just for our southern counties, still having slightly high humidity, but temperatures are dropping down to the lower 90s, and the rest of us are still going to look pretty good. We see another boundary start to pass again tomorrow. So yesterday's boundary was a little bit weaker, so we didn't see a long-lasting effect of those cooler temperatures, but with the secondary boundary moving in tomorrow, those temperatures are going to continue to drop for the first half of the work week, dropping down to the upper and mid 80s through Wednesday. Now, we're not getting a ton of rainfall, not widespread either, but there are going to be a few isolated afternoon showers following a pretty clear morning in the morning. Temperatures only getting up to the low 90s, 93 out in Joplin, maybe a little bit cooler. Now, we'll look at the future track. We've got that boundary moving in Sunday afternoon, and you can start to see where the winds have shifted, but those storms don't really fire up until after they move out of our area, south of Tulsa, south of Bella Vista, near Arkansas. But we do still have a couple of rain showers and thunderstorms that are going to be moving in, but as you can see, they fire up really after they move out of our area. We're still getting some rain, just not going to be a heavy or a lot of accumulation with that rain. And then continuing into later in the evening, into Monday morning, this is going to be about 2:30, we've got another round of storms moving in, not a severe threat. You might wake up to some thunder, maybe see some lightning, but it's just going to be passing and dissipating as it moves through our area. So again, we are getting those rain chances, but we're not getting a severe threat like we saw yesterday. There was a lot of other parameters that lined up that we're just not seeing this weekend. But luckily, temperatures are going to drop regardless of the other parameters. Isolated showers tomorrow afternoon, morning storms on Monday, and then those drop in temperatures from the low 90s to the upper 80s and even mid 80s. Tuesday, 85, Wednesday, 87. Thursday, 89, but then we start to warm right back up to average and then slightly above average by next weekend. But still, the overnight lows are going to remain in the mid to lower 60s for the first half of the week, and then we start to warm right back up, and then we warm up to the upper 60s. So we're looking pretty good. We've got a cool down, but only lasts through the first half of the week, and then we start to see those regular August temperatures again.
It makes me happy because I know that I'm inside during kind of like the hottest part of the day.
That's true.
You
know, it's what, mid-August?
Yeah.
Right? Just one more month. I'm holding on to that. I'm big into the fall.
You're new to the Midwest, though,
That's true.
so like it gets a little hairy around here.
That is true. I've learned a lot being here. But I will say, I mean, we had massive heat days.
Yeah.
Earlier in the year, in the summer, I feel like, right when the summer started, we went from severe weather to heat advisories, excessive heat warnings across the area. So, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
I'm ready for the fall.
Absolutely. Thanks, Lindsay. Coming up in sports, the Neosho Wildcats softball team looks to have another big season. Plus, Pitt State football reveals their new black uniforms. Brock Baldridge has that story and more up next.
Well, the fall sports season in Missouri begins in just a couple of weeks. The Neosho Wildcats are the defending COC champs in softball, and this year's squad returns a lot of talent as the Wildcats aim for another big year. This afternoon, Neosho hit the diamond for a scrimmage as part of Wildcat Pride Night. Last year, Neosho finished with a 26-7 overall record. This year's team returns 8 starters, including the reigning COC Player of the Year, Carly Kennard. Head coach Katie Cummins said her team set high expectations for themselves this season.
This will be my 5th and 6th year with some of them, so we know each other pretty well, and they've got their expectations set high, and I think it's appropriately high. We'll definitely have to work for it. Winning the COC last year was big, but it just puts a bigger target on our back because now everybody's coming with their best game, and we've got to be prepared for that.
We pretty much return everyone, so we're looking to just build on what we did last year and to go even deeper to win the district championship and then go on to state. That's our end goal, obviously, and so that's just what we've been building on all summer.
Week 2 of the preseason rolls on for the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Chiefs return to Arrowhead Stadium for the first time this season, and the Chiefs square off with the Detroit Lions on a toasty Saturday afternoon. Lions at Chiefs, and there's a look at the reigning Super Bowl MVP. Opening drive of the game, Patrick Mahomes drops back, and get used to this connection. Mahomes airs it out to rookie wide receiver Xavier Worthy for a gain of 39 yards. Chiefs would then settle for a field goal. Later in the quarter, Chiefs lead 3-0. Patrick Mahomes with the behind-the-back pass to Travis Kelce. Are you kidding me? We've seen no-look passes, but now we have behind-the-back passes. Well, still in the first quarter, Carson Wentz enters the game for Mahomes. Wentz throws it up to Xavier Worthy for a 22-yard touchdown. Chiefs led the entire game until the last play. Detroit hit a game-winning field goal. Lions beat the Chiefs 24-23. Well, the Kansas City Royals and the St. Louis Cardinals are each fighting for a wild card spot. With roughly 6 weeks of the regular season remaining, the clock starts to tick. Well, let's start in Cincinnati. Royals versus Reds. KC leads 1-0 the second inning. Dairon Blanco to straightaway center field for his second homer of the season. Royals lead 3-0. Early on in the game, it's a 5-0 game as it's the third inning. Bases loaded, and there's a drive deep into left field, and that will make it a 9-0 ball game. How about Dairon Blanco, his first career grand slam? He finished this game with a career high 7 RBIs on the night. Kansas City is up 9-0 in only the third inning. So on the mound is Michael Walker, and he was stellar tonight. He throws 6 shutout innings with 9 strikeouts. Royals win big to take the series in Cincinnati. Kansas City beats the Reds 13-1. Meanwhile, St. Louis Cardinals are home against the Los Angeles Dodgers. St. Louis has lost their last 5 straight games. The Cards snapped that losing streak tonight, beat one of the best teams in the National League. St. Louis beats the Dodgers 5-2. Alex Burleson, yeah, another big night. He goes 3 for 4 with a 2-run homer in this one. Well, in case you missed it, last night Pitt State Athletics hosted their Gorilla Kickoff Party and Auction. And the event, with the football team being there in audience, you got a first-hand look at their new black uniforms. This also includes a new helmet with a gorilla figure on the side of it. Pitt State is expected to wear these black-inspired uniforms for their Week 1 game against Ferris State. And I'll have to admit, I am a big fan of the new helmets for sure. I mean, absolutely. I've seen some of the other teams, the softball teams wear black jerseys, and some of the basketball teams wear black jerseys, but the side of the helmet, I was really impressed with that, so I'm excited to see that.
At the college level and the professional level, we're seeing some pretty cool logos come out this year.
I agree with that. So we'll see if Pitt State can maybe, who knows, maybe not just black uniforms, they could go all white with that combo as well.
That'd be really cool. All right, thanks, Brock. We'll be right back. Police officers escorted the son of a fallen officer to his first day of kindergarten in Dallas, Texas. Rebecca Lopez has more.
You excited? Look at that. I love that smile, too. Give me some. Give me some. Yeah, he's ready. He's ready. It was a special day for a special little boy. The first day of kindergarten for Nico de la Rocha. Sunnyvale and Dallas police officers, including DPD's Mounted Patrol, showed up before the first bell.
It's a big day for him. It's kindergarten. We just wanted to come out and show our support with the officers, the chief.
Nico's father, Dallas Police Senior Corporal Jose de la Rocha, passed away suddenly last August.
He was playing with his son in the kitchen and passed out, and his son, Nico, who we're escorting this morning, goes up to his mom and says, you know, Daddy's on the floor.
Corporal de la Rocha suffered a fatal heart attack and didn't get to share this special moment with his son.
You got to be excited, right? Yeah? Let's go.
So DPD officers stepped in to escort little Nico to his first day of class, Chief Eddie Garcia holding his hand.
Walking the little boy to school, holding his hand, the smile on his face. You know, I hope that he always knows that we're family.
It was emotional for Nico's mother and for the officers as they surrounded him with love and support.
Can I get a hug? Thank you so much. Awesome. You have a great day at school, okay? Have a good year. Get straight A's? Straight A's? Okay.
Chief Garcia, who got emotional, says he wanted to be here, not only as an officer, but as a father figure.
I know as a father, his dad would have given anything to be here. So I know he's looking down and he's smiling today.
And that is how officers remember Corporal de la Rocha, with a big smile and a big heart that lives on in his little boy.
Up next, a rescue just in the nick of time. Firefighters this afternoon worked to rescue a dog from a sinkhole between Carterville, Missouri and Webb City. We're told the dog was found by a citizen looking for his own dog when he heard whining from the sinkhole and saw the husky mix. The dog was not the one the man was looking for. The dog was on a ledge in the sinkhole that was estimated at 20 feet wide and 30 feet deep. Animal Control has released a statement saying they are seeking the owner.
Yeah, is there a collar?
There was a blue collar, but no tag.
Oh.
So,
you know, my dog, I've noticed sometimes their tags will fall off. I'm good about making sure I see it on, but unfortunately that does happen.
Yeah, but it's good to know that he's okay.
Yes, definitely good.
We're all for dogs
that dog
here.
Doesn't have, if the owner doesn't come forward, you know.
You heard it here
he's
first.
Been out there for a while. I could get
She's
another
looking
dog.
for another one. So, perfect. Well, that's our time for tonight from all of us here at KOAM. Have a great night.